Hello everyone and welcome to my review for Record of Ragnarok Season 2, Episode 1. I've only watched the first episode thus far, and I only plan on watching them one at a time and then doing the reviews after the fact, so I don't have any kind of knowledge of what's to come before I talk about what I've already seen. So I'm going to try to keep these as genuine as possible, like usual. I'm not sure how often I'll be uploading these. I'll probably stick to uploading them on days that I don't usually upload things. So, Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays, maybe in addition to one of the other days if I'm really bored or something. But depending on how quickly I get to doing them, I may put some of them up for early access on Patreon. Who knows? But in the meantime, I'm here to talk about Episode 1. Not sure how long it'll take, because I've got only like a handful of things to talk about. I think obviously the big thing that is on everyone's mind when it comes to Season 2 is the animation quality, because the animation quality in Season 1 was not the best. There was a serious overuse of still frames, especially at the most important of scenes. To the point at which, instead of getting animated scenes, we got PowerPoint presentation scenes in which we're just kind of flipping between still images, as if I were reading the manga, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of watching an anime when you can just read the manga. Fortunately, at least thus far, for Episode 1, I would say the animation quality is better. I think we're getting a bit more of the good animation. We still have some still frames, but I didn't feel like we were really getting them much for the really important stuff. There were a few scenes where I was like, come on, you couldn't animate like Herc smashing the table or Drac pulling out his grappling hook or something. You just shot transition, he's holding it out. But these are nitpicks. These are not the most important of things. If anything, my general criticisms of the shot transitions have less to do with animation and just more so with directing. I feel like there were a few scenes where the transitions between shots were a little too quick, didn't really let things simmer for long enough. The big one I can think of is when Jack's knives pierce Heracles. It feels like it happens way too suddenly. When you read through it in the manga, there's like a whole page, I think, of just everyone's reactions to, whoa, what just happened? And then we get the reveal of them piercing Heracles' skin. Whereas in this, he throws the knives and they pierce him. Like, you just see it's happen. So it doesn't feel as dramatic as it did in the manga. Now, there is one thing that they did. I guess they did it a couple times, that I know people are going to complain about, because it's CGI. But I think it's good CGI. I know the CGI in Season 1, when they used it, was not very good, especially with Lubu's army and all that. It was not pleasant, not very fun to look at, but I feel like what we were getting in this episode so far, at least, was a somewhat significant improvement. Now, the CGI is now part of the actual fights. It's not just background stuff, but it's implemented quite well. And by that I mean it's just good CGI. Yes, the scenes they're animating could have been done traditionally, but I don't really have any issues with the way they are animated. There are a few reasons for that. The primary one is weight. A big issue that people have with CGI animation, even if they can't really describe what it is the feeling of weightlessness. Especially when you have 3D models in a 2D environment, it can feel like it's something out of place that's just been thrown into a scene, because it's not really acting with things the same way. The shading's it's different. It doesn't look like it's interacting with the same light sources. It looks like it has different weight than everything else there. A lot of the movements can be really janky and feel unnatural and aren't very pleasant to look at. That is not the case here. All of the movements feel properly articulated. They're smooth. They feel weighty, especially Heracles' movements. You can tell he's a big guy swinging around a big club. It's all good. I really liked the CGI in this episode. Another reason I think it gets implemented quite well is the shading. More specifically, the lighting. I didn't really hear people talk about this that much with the first season, but an issue I have with it, and an issue I kind of have with the style for the anime, is the overall lighting or shading for the show. It's so bland. You know how it's sort of a rule with filmmaking that if you're going to film outside, you should never ever film at noon, because then there's just like the lighting's just bad. There's no shadows cast on everything. It's just light coming straight down. It makes everything look terrible. That was kind of how I felt with a lot of season 1, where just everything, it was like there was a light source everywhere. There was not really good shading. Yeah, the character models were detailed well, but the shading, they looked like they were made of plastic or something. I didn't like it. Since this match happens at night, that means everything's a bit darker, the colors are toned down a bit, and no one looks so shiny. So naturally, that means all of the animation, all of the scenes really, even if they are not on their own a significant improvement from Season 1, the lighting makes it look a lot better. Last things, sound, the voice acting. I don't remember who Jack's VA has voiced other than Jack, but I know he's doing a pretty good job thus far. I knew we were going to get English. I mean, I'm pretty sure Jack basically speaks English words in the manga. So, you know, we knew that was going to happen. But I think it was, like, right as it was starting. I think right when we got to tea time, I'm like, oh boy, we're going to be getting some real English at some points, aren't we? You're goddamn right we are. It's glorious. Heracles VA, same guy that voiced Diavolo and Tengen in Demon Slayer, great job. Doing a really good job thus far. I really like him. The sound effects have been pretty solid. Oh, I forgot something with animation. The Nemean line, the first labor, looked great. That was all 2D animation there. That bright blue looked phenomenal. Loved it. The sound effects, they're good. I feel like for most of them, they are not what really stands out to me that much. I know it's kind of like a One Piece thing, where you notice how like a lot of footstep sounds in the One Piece anime sound terrible. It's just like the same weirdly high-pitched or squishy sound repeated over and over again. It's a little bit like that. I thought Herc's footsteps didn't sound as heavy as they should, because the guy's like 8 feet tall. He's built like a brick shithouse. He should have some heavier steps on concrete. I don't know, maybe it's just because he's wearing sandals or something. But the little bit of sound design that I appreciated the most, or sound effects would be more accurate, was when Jack runs away, and I shit you not, they used actual Looney Tunes cartoon sound effects. Perfect. I was wondering exactly how they were going to do that. The sudden cut, the cartoon sound effects, great. Excellent. Loved it. The last thing, music. Opening, the song's really good. The animations, whatever. And then the ED's really good too. There weren't any tracks in the episode that really stood out to me too much. I think there was one that seems to be kind of the general theme of the gods. It was playing when Loki was talking to Heracles. And then there's this other OST that I'm going to assume is supposed to be Herc's theme song. It's sort of this rock opera thing. I love it. It's really good. Can't wait till the soundtrack for this season gets released. I'm very curious what the themes for the other characters are going to be. Because if there is one for Jack, I haven't noticed it yet. It may just not stand out too much to me. I imagine it'll probably play when he gets some more of his big scenes later, so then it'll be more distinguishable to me. But what I'm really looking forward to is what they're going to do for the other characters' theme songs, especially Shiva. You know, since Shiva's a Hindu deity, are we going to get like some really cool Eastern Indian stuff? That'd be really neat. I'd like that a lot. But yeah, for the first episode of the season, off to a good start. My smile and optimism is restored. I know I didn't really do any stuff covering the lead up to season 2 on the channel, because I was just kind of like, whatever, man. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, I don't care. I'm not watching it. But, you know, so far, it seems pretty decent. Seems pretty decent to me. I'll give this episode an 8. I'll give it an 8. Pretty good. I guess I'll find out if it continues to be pretty good going forward. Because, you know, Netflix dropped the first 10 episodes all at the same time. I imagine quite a few of you have binged it or will be binging it. Where, for you guys, I'm going to be taking my time with this thing. But yeah, with that, that's all I've got for today's review. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. I've been doing Record of Ragnarok chapter reactions and reviews every month, and of course, I'm going to be reviewing every episode that comes out this season, so definitely be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of those. And if you enjoy discussing Record of Ragnarok with other people, or you just enjoy the content I produce on this channel, I highly suggest you check out my Discord server. I have a link to that down in the description. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys around. Take care.